what's up? Welcome to the AV Club podcast. My guest today is Mr. Mario Morales. Mario is the owner of his own company called Made for More Consulting. It's a leadership consulting firm where they go to different businesses and teach them the proper leadership skills in order to thrive and succeed in the industry that they're in. And he was the pastor of a church for many years and still helps out with the church. And he just went from full-time at the church to part-time in his business to full-time in his business, part-time in the church, which is a really huge deal for any entrepreneur or any business-minded person. That's kind of the goal when you start a business, right, is to do that full-time. And he's at the point now to where he's able to do that, which is super awesome. I'm proud of him and stoked for him. We talked about his past work history, and there's a lot of interesting stuff in there that I can't wait for you to hear. And Mario's just an all-around awesome dude. It was one of those conversations where I left and I was just like, wow, that was really cool. So I hope you guys enjoy Mario and take something away from it. Cool. And, very informal. We're rolling.
Yeah.
Rolling. Mario, thank you for joining me today, my man.
Yes,
Appreciate you, man.
It's good to be here.
Even early.
Yeah, man.
You're
early is on time is late.
That's right.
Let's go by.
That's awesome. So this is called the Roadcaster Pro.
That's awesome, dude.
I did a ton of research, and this is like your all-in-one podcast studio right here.
Yeah.
Like besides the camera stuff, this is all you need to record a podcast.
That's cool, dude.
Yeah, and it like you can control the levels. Like there's even like sounds you can add. Like I got my intro right here.
Oh, that's cool, bro.
It's pretty wild, man.
Dude,
like,
that's insane. Yeah, so you don't have to video edit later or audio edit. It's just all right there.
Yep, and these mics this is like all Rode, the brand Rode.
Yeah.
And so it all syncs up with each other, and so you can customize like the sound of your voice and like the sound of the guest voice. Like,
so where's the output to? Like, where is it going into and recording?
There's a little micro SD card right there. I don't know if you could see it.
Dude, that is legit. Oh, I see it. That's pretty legit, dude. That's awesome, man.
I would, if upgrade, whenever you guys get an upgrade, I would recommend this thing highly because
that's awesome, man.
I'll never have to get a new system again.
No way, dude.
Like, ever. And that was the whole point. I was like, I don't want to upgrade to something I'm going to have to upgrade again. But
that's cool. I bet you it's worth the money.
Yeah, it's about $600.
That's not bad.
It's not bad at all. No. That's what I said. So, man.
That's so cool, dude.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
I'm excited. And this is the best it's sounded because these things are kind of helping block the echo. So, we're rolling, man.
Cool.
Man, I'm so excited for this. I've been like really thinking about leadership and just maybe how it's affected me in my past and how I truly value it so much. And I hardly ever think about that, but having you on made me think about it a lot. And so, man, I've been around some great leaders in my life and some horrible leaders.
Yeah.
Horrible leaders, man. And it's almost the kind of thing where you don't, at least for me, I didn't realize I was in a good position. Actually, I did realize when I had great leaders. But the bad leaders, I didn't realize till later on in the process.
Yep.
You know? And so it wasn't like a thing I spotted right off the bat, but the good leaders was.
Yeah, no doubt.
I used to work at, I went to Texas Tech and I graduated from Texas Tech. And
Lubbock.
Yeah.
I was raised about, an hour and a half away from there, Midland.
My whole family's I was born in Midland.
Okay.
I was, my mom and my dad are from Stanton, Texas.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, I went to school in Greenwood.
Oh, wow.
So like I was born in Van Horn.
Okay.
Way out west. And then we moved when I was 2 to Midland, Texas. But we moved out in Greenwood. In Greenwood and Stanton, we always were like rivals for a little bit.
That's crazy, man.
Small world, man.
That is a very small world.
We didn't know this before we started this.
No.
So,
That's awesome, though.
Yeah.
I don't know many people that know the town Stanton so Texas. I just say Midland. I just say West Texas or I say Midland.
Yeah,
so,
that's cool, bro.
But yeah, man, I went to Texas Tech and I worked at the rec center. And so what I did there was I was a manager for the club sports teams. So those are all the sports that aren't like NCAA affiliated, but any person that attends the school can like essentially try to start that club, right? Yeah. So we had like, for example, we had like rugby.
Yeah.
We had Quidditch.
What is that?
That's from the movie. That's from the movie Harry Potter.
Oh my gosh!
Where they ride the brooms. Yeah. So they had like a PVC pipe. They had to keep it between their legs the whole time, and they would throw volleyballs. Yeah, it was crazy. They had like rings like that they had to throw like volleyballs and like different size balls.
Yeah.
It was wild.
That's interesting.
Very interesting. And anyways, the boss I had there, she was the best leader I've ever had. And it was, I don't know what it was. She was so confident. And I think if I had to boil it down, it was the fact that she was so confident in the people she chose to work for her, that she gave you the autonomy.
Yeah.
With without really letting you know. But she's like, okay, well, she would kind of lead us to the answer that we were looking for every time, and we'd figure it out on our own.
That's good.
And it's like, that's exactly what I want in a leader, you know? But Mario, let's go ahead and introduce you. Tell the people what you do. First of all, I know that you do some pastoral work, and you also do leadership work. But let's take a deeper dive, man. What specifically do you do?
So for the last 13 years, I've been a pastor at Rock Point Church in Leander and Liberty Hill. We have 2 campuses. I say for the last 13 years because last week was my first full-time week on my own. So I went part-time there. And so my secondary job, which is Made for More Consulting, that's my own business. Basically what I do for Made for More Consulting is personal development and leadership development. So I come in for a company and do high-level management training with leadership and personal development, or the owners of a business, or just high-level management, because I know if you start at the top leading and you develop those leaders, it'll trickle down if it's the right leaders. But anyways, so my secondary job, which is Made for More Consulting, became my primary last week. So now I'm full-time, my own business, and then pastoral work. I'm a campus pastor. I did student ministry for 9 or 10 years. Now I'm a campus pastor out in Liberty Hill, and I've done that for 3 or 4 years. And so now, but really my full-time job is Made for More Consulting, man.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, dude. It's been pretty cool.
Made for More. What made you think of that name? How'd you come to that?
Dude, it was a couple of different conversations with some friends that we talked about the word potential. Like, hey, they would always say, hey, you always see the potential in people. And I was like, I guess. I mean, I'm just trying to lead people to do things on their own and to see that they're made. This is what it was, to see that they're made for more. So over a couple of conversations, I kept saying, hey, you were made for more. And I was like, well, that's weird. And then someone was like, well, what do you want to do? I was like, I want to tell people that they were made for more than, and I was like, you know what? There it is. Like, made for more. And my buddy Tyler Hobbs, man, I got to give him a shout out because the logo, I just wanted something that said made for more. And so I did some cheese ball graphic on Canva. Yep. And then so he took it and he goes, bro, let me just see this. And so he made the 2 M's. My initials are Mario Morales. Well, then he put the M and M and then he put the 4 Roman numeral. Yeah. And so the Roman numeral 4 is in the 2 M's, and he put Made for More.
That's awesome, man.
It's pretty cool, bro.
Pretty sleek design, man.
He did a great job. So I don't give him enough credit, but he's cool, man. So, but really, dude, that's what I do is my job, which I love, is just showing people that they're made for more. Yeah. Through personal development. Yeah.
That's amazing. I like that. Sometimes those situations and sometimes those answers kind of just fall in your lap. Yeah. It's funny how that works.
Yeah, because you want your business to be catchy and you want it to be awesome. And I think that if you push the agenda too much, sometimes it's like I'm an artist, so I draw a lot. I did a lot of artwork, and a lot of sports figures have my artwork in their house. And so I would draw, and my mom, when I was a kid, she would laugh because I'd get so frustrated and crumble it up, and everybody like, dude, why did you do that? So again, starting in a business or starting anything, sometimes you got to take a step away and go, for the next 45 minutes or next day, next 3 days, I'm going to take a step back. I'll finish it when I can. So yeah.
That's amazing, man. What kind of art did you draw?
Well, I think in high school, I was in my typical Art 1 class, and I told my art teacher, I was like, I don't want to do what everybody else does. And he was like, well, what do you want to do? And I said, well, what's the college AP program? He goes, well, you pick a concentration and you just draw that 50 pictures. And so, for example, the home run race between Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa in baseball was just picking up. And I just decided to use them. And I said, hey, baseball. So I just started drawing baseball figures. And then like just sports athletes like Deion Sanders. He was probably the guy that launched my art career, I guess, because he took one of my pictures and put it in his locker, and then ESPN took it, and then our news station in Midland took it, and then all of a sudden there was like, hey, there's this art kid who somehow got his picture with Deion, and then after that, it all blew up, man. Like like Derek Jeter, Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire, David Robinson, all these just random. I mean, it just happened, bro. It just happened, and
that's so cool, man.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So,
that's really cool.
I just wish that I would do it more.
Yeah,
I just don't do it enough. Like my daughters are always like, "Hey, why don't you draw more?" And I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
It's it's a weird thing, right? Because it's like I find myself going through this a lot, where you have a passion or like something you're good at, and you're like, I'm gonna get to that, and then everything else in the world just stacks up, and you find it on the back burner, even though it's probably not where you want it to be.
What you're passionate about sometimes takes that back seat, and you go, why am I feeling frustrated, empty, and sometimes just, I mean, not depressed, like as in, horrible, but you're going, I just feel down.
Yeah.
It's probably because we're not doing the things that we love.
Yeah. No, I agree to that.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I can't believe that. That's random.
Yeah, it is random, dude. And then we got invited to a Comic-Con. Back in the day, Comic-Con was not like popular.
Oh yeah.
And so I did some ink work for a couple of comic books. Like they would do storylines and I would just do ink work. And so they said, hey, we're going to set you up a table at the Comic-Con in Dallas, and people are just going to come buy your comic and you sign it. And so I met like the Incredible Hulk, Lou Ferrigno.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, dude. So that's just like that's probably the thing that when I was a kid, when someone said, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? An artist. And what's funny is I probably have time to do it. It's like you said, I need to stop and slow down.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. No, I feel the same way. And it's, man, I feel the same way.
Yeah.
I have stuff that I like. I'm in love with comedy. I like comedy.
That's cool.
It's a goal of mine to do like some stand up.
That's awesome.
And even some sketch comedy with videos and stuff.
Yeah.
I always find myself like, maybe it's a little bit of, for me, probably different from you, but it's a little bit of fear for me.
Okay.
A little bit of fear. And, and also it's like a habit. It's a habit that I need to work on, build it up before I can get into it and start making it.
So do you have like people that you look up to or mentors or people that you say, hey, that's someone that I would like to not maybe meet, or someone who shaped that in you?
My dad. Yeah.
Really?
My dad he's not like a stand-up comedian or anything by any means, but he's he's the funniest guy I know. His is like practical jokes. He'll mess with you. Like, for example, I met him in San Antonio this weekend, him and my brother, and then a couple buddies and my uncles. We all met in San Antonio. We played golf. And then that night we were watching the UFC fights. Yeah. And my dad went into our room and he called my brother over there and he's like, hey, come here. And so they went in there, they said some words, and then my brother came out, had this big smile on his face. My dad stayed in the room and I was like, oh my gosh, this isn't going to be good. Yeah. And then our buddy Randy, he was in the kitchen cooking, and my brother was like, hey, dude, did you get to see the Whirlpool tub in the master suite?
Oh dear.
And he was saying, no, I didn't get to see it. And so they walked back there. My brother somehow got behind him, and then my dad came out of the closet with a gorilla suit on.
Oh my gosh.
A full gorilla suit. Scared the crowd. It was so funny, man.
Those are awesome jokes though, man. Those are things that you want to see on TV or on social media, and you go, those are classic. Bro.
Yeah, it was so funny, and the reaction of Randy made it. He went like he had like it was so funny. That's man. Good.
That's awesome, bro.
But he's that role model for me in that, and not because like he writes, technical jokes or anything like that, but he's just fun and goofy all the time. He's himself, and he's hilarious. That's and so cool. I try to be like that, and I want to try to like do it. I'm a pretty like nice guy, you could say. I'm not like super vulgar or super yeah. And so I'm trying to like in my head find this fine line between like being like a super like a lot of people are dirty comics like
I got you.
I have no issue with cussing. I have no issue with people cussing, but like I'm trying to find that fine line to where I don't have to do that or do it as much, so it's like a little bit of like an extra obstacle in my mind. But that's kind of
that's good though, man, because I think for us on our podcast, that was one of the things that, one, I have two daughters that at some point they're going to listen to what I've always put out, right? Yeah. But two, I'd want, whether it was a huge corporation or a company, to listen to what I have, or someone who's again, I don't really care about if someone cusses or not, but if they have a pretty intense new company and they're pretty rough around the edges, maybe it can apply to them too. So if I can find that middle ground,
Right.
I think we're golden. And again, I don't have to go either way. I'm not going to be super, hold the line. I'm not going to cuss or be vulgar. I'm just going to be me so that they can go, hey, that's who he is. And so, yeah, that's good, dude.
That's exactly how I feel, man. So what got you into the leadership aspect? I think the reason that whenever I was eating lunch or dinner, whatever it was with Daniel, the reason we brought you up is because I mentioned Jocko Willink.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, yeah. I was like, do you know who that is to Daniel? And he was like, no, but I know a guy that is into him.
Yeah, man. That's I would say that Jocko Willink, when I met him, I told him, hey, you changed my life. And he just said, I didn't change your life. I gave you the tools to change what you were trying to achieve. And he's right, man. I think what's funny is if and when I have that conversation with Jocko, I want to make sure that he sees that when I started listening to him, I began the path of Made for More. And the things that he says in his leadership about taking ownership, and then things start to build on that, and extreme ownership and discipline equals freedom, all those things that he somewhat says in his podcast and the way in his books. Once I started applying those things, man, what was crazy was things started to fall in line because I focused it. So for me, leadership is obviously influence, not manipulation. It's not about what I can get you to do for me. It's about what we can do as a team. But then also is to go, if I'm going to go accomplish something, it's no one else's, it's on me. Like I can't blame anyone else for my faults. It's on me. If something didn't go right, I got to look for the ownership in it and say, hey, that's on me. So the reason I got into it was because I was at campus, or I started at campus for Rock Point, and I was struggling I was in student ministry. I was the main guy. I had all this time on my hand, and I wasn't up front, but I knew that my purpose was to go, hey, you got to grow. So quit complaining about all this time you have and do something with that time now.
Yeah.
So I started, again, I was in a weird spot where I felt like my passion had been put in the back burner, and maybe my purpose wasn't being played out because of me, not my situation. And so my brother just sent a video of Jocko Willink, bro, and I watched it, and it literally, I sat on the recliner one night, and when he sent it to me, I watched it over and over and over and over again. It was his TED Talk about extreme ownership, and I never heard of the dude. I thought he was a jerk because his picture, he just looks like a punk. Yeah. But when you listen to him, you realize what he's gone through, but two, what he has to offer, and three, that he looks intimidating, but he is not, he's not a yeller. He's not gonna get in your face. He's gonna draw that out of you. Right. Yeah. And so for me, the reason I picked this whole path of leadership is to go, one, I've led teams before, and I forgot about that. I forgot that it was about other people. I got so focused on the fact that I wasn't where I wanted to be, and I was discontent, which is okay to be discontent, but it's not okay to be toxic to yourself. And that's where I was just blaming everybody. And I realized, you know what? It's on me, man. And so once I changed that and remembered that I had led teams before for different organizations, like, two humongous shoe companies, and I'd led multiple teams, in multiple, cities. And then I came to the church, and I forgot that, hey, some of the stuff I did before, I did at the church, and now I have the opportunity to do it for a living, which is just investing in people. Yeah. And so, man, really, I think that for me, there's John Maxwell, right? There's my mentor through college was Louis Giglio. He leads Passion City Church, right? Yeah. But when I got to Jocko, I was like, I have no military background. I have some great friends that served. I have a former Navy SEAL best friend that he was supposed to be my best man, but he was serving in Iraq. I did his wedding. He's a retired Navy SEAL, and so I sometimes I wish I would have served, but then I go, hey, that wasn't in the cards at the time. Yeah. So when I started listening to Jocko and leadership, I'm going, this is completely not my style. Mm-hmm. But man, that's what shaped where I'm at right now. It's totally discipline equals freedom and extreme ownership. Yeah. So
extreme ownership is.
How did you hear about it?
Joe Rogan Podcast.
Okay.
Yeah, that's like a huge influence to me. as you can see by the setup, like it's kind of similar in a little bit. But the reason he's an influence to me is because he does what he wants to and makes is a living from it, which is essentially all I'm asking for, all I'm striving for. And I like his format. I like how there's no specific topics. I like how he has a guy like Jocko on, and then he has like a scientist on, and then he has one of his random comedy buddies. But I heard about Jocko through that podcast, and you're right. Like Jocko is, once you get past like that initial like, who is this guy?
Yeah,
you hear what he has to say, and you can just tell that he's a leader from his words, right? Not even his actions. And I'm sure his actions are way stronger than his words. Yeah. But I got his book, his audio book on audio. Did you hear it on audiobook?
I've because there's several that I bought on audio, but what I tend to do is to buy a book and buy the audio and read it at the same time so I can mark in my book what I'm going to note.
Okay, that's smart.
But when I listen to the audiobook, it's much more intense than you reading it.
Yeah. Especially since it's him and he's like, you sound like you're like there. You're like, whoa.
Yes.
I heard that book, and it was amazing. It was crazy book, and the extreme ownership part is it's a gut wrenching philosophy that he has, I guess you could say, and he. I don't even know, man.
It's a look in the mirror. Like
it's exactly.
You think that he's going to give you these steps to becoming successful, but really in the end he goes, you need to look in the mirror. The reason you're not succeeding is go look in the mirror. The reason that you have problems, go look in the mirror. And really when you go, well, it's my boss's fault. Well, you can choose to work there or not. What's so-and-so's fault? It's yours. Let's go. Just take ownership and let's move.
Yeah.
And man, it's challenging, dude. But it's life-changing. It's that whole discipline equals freedom. I can be disciplined in my leadership and the way I treat people. The freedom's going to come in the way that I live my life.
Right.
The freedom of being able to treat people the way that they need to be treated.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And it's just insane when you hear that from the perspective of a guy who's been where he's been and done the things he's done and led the men he's led. You think about the guys he led, how they're like the toughest of the tough, the baddest of the bad. And then you're like, how do you find a person to lead those guys? And then you look at Jocko and you're like, oh, okay. Yeah,
exactly.
There he is.
And he's somebody that can rein in the Chris Kyles, the Leif Babins. I mean, when you watch American Sniper, and what's interesting is connecting the dots to go, Jocko was the guy that led Chris Kyle. The Texas, he has a day named after him because he's the most lethal sniper in American history. And but the people around him were such high level. I wouldn't say athletes. Some of them say they're not athletes, but I think they are. But they were in such intense pressure situations that they needed someone to lead them and see everything that they couldn't see.
Yeah.
And that was Jocko. But he also said, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to let you guys do it. Like you said earlier, autonomy, that's one of the biggest things. And I wrote that down because earlier you were talking about leadership. And I think decentralizing your leadership is the key to allowing others to succeed. And that's what he did.
Yeah.
Yeah. He let other people speak into success.
Yeah, man. Amazing guy. Yeah. His, I don't know if you've ever heard his, the YouTube compilation of him. It's called Good.
Yeah, that's my next tattoo. Yeah,
really.
So I got his T-shirt, and that's gonna be my next tattoo on the back of my arm.
You're gonna get it in his font.
In his font.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
Yeah. My wife was wondering. She's like, "Hey, what's your next tattoo?" And I was like, "Yeah, I think it's gonna be good because in every bad situation, man, we can find the good, and it's not easy at times. Like we just talked about loss on our podcast, like the loss of a friend. But and I get it. You got to give yourself some time. But if you never look for the good, then you're going to be stuck in that situation. And he says that, you've heard it. And you didn't get the job. Good. It's time to get better. More time to get better. So, man.
That is eye opening too, man. Because it's so easy to just let your head down and just blame others or blame the situation.
Yep.
I like how you said that earlier. You said it wasn't the situation; it was me. And
And it's so easy for us in the culture we're in to do what everybody else does, which is, hey, no, everyone's hiring, or hey, I want a free check, or whatever. However you feel, man. And again, I'm not political, but I go, hey, you know what? If you want to go do something now, and the culture is what it is, you go do it. Who cares what anyone says?
Yeah.
If you don't have the money, then man, let's let's put the work in and let's get to where you need to get to. And I want to help you get there, but you got to take ownership. I can't do it for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's good, man.
Jocko, man, good.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
gonna get that tattooed across my back.
Nice. Yeah.
So besides Jocko, who are some other role models to you?
Man, the biggest one was definitely Louis Giglio. Through college, had never been to church. I never been to church till I was 18, and I got into church when I was 18, and my life changed through some tragic circumstances. Lost my best friend, and so I just went to church to see if I could find some answers. Found some answers, and then I just needed someone to listen to, and so I found out that he was going to be somewhere at a conference. I went with some of my friends, and ever since then, dude, he's been probably the most spoken into my life mentor that I've ever had is Louis Giglio. So him, leadership wise, I think of John Maxwell. He's kind of old school, but he has so many small statements that can stick. Andy Stanley, I think obviously Jocko. I think I'm trying to think who else, man. Those guys right there probably played the most important roles in my life. And then in my, I guess, people that I know, there's a guy named Jay Mayo that I had on my podcast. Shane O'Brien, the guy that I work for, they're two. Jay's a counselor, a grief counselor. Shane he was the guy that I met when I was turned 18 and went to church for the first time. He's now my boss.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, man, it's just, I think those are the people that I look up to because they've always helped me get better. And they've always had resources for me. And they've always been the ones that had the difficult conversations when no one else would.
Yeah.
They're not yes men, right? And they tell you, hey, you need to do something here.
That's super important.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's very important.
Yeah.
I was thinking at work today, and I was like, actually, I was thinking this on my run this morning. I was like, you're the pastor of a church, or you were, and now you're in a different pastoral role.
Yeah.
And you are the owner of a leadership company.
Yeah.
So does that have any added pressure to you and having to essentially practice what you preach? Do you ever feel a little bit more anxious?
Yeah, because for me, the one thing that I've always believed as a pastor is, so anytime I meet a group of guys or a group of people that want to get it, I guess, like in that inner circle, the first thing I always tell them is, hey, I'm just going to let you know I'm a regular dude first. So if I say something that offends you, I'm sorry. And then I'm a pastor, but I also believe that we're all called to be pastors. Like you have your own people that you need to shepherd and pastor. We may not work for a church, but for me, I'm going, the pressure comes when maybe there's a different style of leadership and you're having to comply and you're going, well, I wouldn't do it that way, but I'm going to roll with it. Yeah. And then if something happens to where you're given some autonomy to lead your way, then you do that. But I think for me, practicing what I preach is being able to be authentic and real and just tell people up front, hey, this is what you're going to get. And I want you to know I'll listen to you. I want you to play that role. And I think the part that I'm learning right now that is difficult for me is not jumping to conclusions when someone doesn't know what extreme ownership is. And I'm learning that right now, man, as a business owner and working with a couple of organizations, that when someone doesn't take ownership and they blame someone else, I forget that they haven't walked through what I've gone through. So right. I'm quick to go, oh, I can feel my blood pressure rising, to go, quit blaming people, man.
Right.
Quit. And so that's probably the biggest pressure point for me, is going, remember that they haven't walked through what I walked through, and slow down and just share information with them and go, hey, this is why I'm where I'm at, and help them to see the bigger picture. Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's a little bit out of pressure. I think that it's I just never want anyone to ever feel intimidated by the way we do things. Mm-hmm. But it can be. But in the end, it's to go, hey, you're made for more. The reason that I'm calling you to take ownership in your life is because you're made for more, and you have what it takes. Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome, man. Mm-hmm. I could imagine a little bit of added pressure there. Yeah. Yeah. And in student ministry, I mean, you're dealing with students that are, when I did that for 10 years, 9 years, you work with students who are trying to apply things and build things into their life, right? And then when I'm working with adults now, and I work with a lot of addicts and former like inmates. And so it's a recovery church. And so, it's teaching them new tools that they probably have heard but never used.
Right.
And you can't say, hey, I told you so. And you can't. So you're just trying to go, hey, this is what I would do if I were you, see if it works. And it's really tempting to just go, I'm just going to write this person off because they're not going to use this. They're not listening to me.
Right.
But you never know what's going to stick. So you got to stay with it and remember the bigger picture to go, time is probably your most valuable thing that you give, not money, because they want to spend time with you. That's the other part is, like yesterday, dude, I'll just be totally honest with you. Yesterday was Sunday, and I went in, I rolled into church, and honestly, we lost a friend last Sunday. So prepping, being with the family we were all really close. So we lost a friend. It's my first week being self-employed. My daughter, my wife went out of town. I was taking my daughter to shop and stuff. She's going into middle school. So there's a lot of stuff going on. So when the pressure comes, when I'm going, I don't want to be around people.
Yeah.
Like I think I'm an extrovert, but I'm an introvert too, which is weird because I want my time. I want to play some video games. I want to just chill. But like yesterday, I had to go to work, but it started off rough. We had a few fires we needed to put out. But when you're in the midst of all these adults that see you as a campus pastor, and I'm just being totally real. I mean, I think people understand this is that I don't want to be around people all the time. Like I'm just going, hey, today's just an off day for me. I'm sorry, but I'll listen. I'll hear you out, but I don't want to counsel. I just want to chill, like with my daughter and my family, and grieve for the loss of someone. But I also got to be very sensitive to the fact that someone else may be in that same position.
Right.
So, yeah, man.
Yeah, fine line there, definitely.
Yeah.
And after moving here, getting kind of close with the church that I'm going to now, Awaken,
Yeah.
I can see that. I can see how the pastors are always, somebody's always asking for something or talking to them or, wanting to just hear what they have to say. And as a human, as a human, I totally get it. Like, it's as much as it isn't a job, it's a tough job, Like,
yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. So
it's being able to tell people that the same role that I have is the same role you can have in a group of people. Like I won't reach the people that you reach, but I understand you need to spend time with us through counsel and wisdom and all this stuff, teaching discernment or helping people just go, hey, be this for people. Like what I'm doing for you, you need to go in turn be that for other people, because that's what I think we're called to do, is be there for the people that are in our circle.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And one of the things that Ryan, the pastor of our church, says, he says church happens more between Sundays and on Sundays.
Yeah.
I like that. He says that every Sunday.
And if church plants and new churches could remember that, I think they'd be way more successful. Because, we were a church plant, and they told our pastor, hey, you're not going to make it past 30 months. And, we're here about to be 20 years old, I think, 20 years old,
wow.
I don't know, 15 years old. I can't even remember.
Something
I don't know why. But anyways, what I'm saying is if they can remember that, it's Sunday. Sunday's just, people are going to go to church. And if they're not, then who you really are is between Sunday and Sunday. Yep.
Yeah, I agree to that, man.
That's good.
There's a lot of similarities in, I think, your new job, your business, and your previous job, or the pastoral
part-time job,
that I find that are very interesting and really just, if you want to be a good leader, you're almost, in a sense, you're being like a good Christian, a good follower.
Yeah, that's right.
And that was something that stuck on my mind today while I was thinking. I work at a YMCA.
Okay.
I do T-shirts. I make T-shirts in the back,
legit,
part-time.
Yeah.
So that I can do this.
That's awesome, man.
But,
any way you can make it happen. You make it happen.
That's the plan, man. And you have a lot of time to think back there. And so I was thinking about that. And I was like, man, I wonder like what are the connections that you feel, and do you ever step back and look at it like that there's similarities there, or you kind of switch your brains back and forth between the jobs?
I think that's a great question. I think what people need to remember what you asked is that it was that light bulb moment for me to go, okay, if I'm going to launch this business, this company, this consulting company of helping people, I work for a freaking church. I need to do it where I need to put my money where my mouth is, where I work right now. And so for 2.5 years, 3 years, I just started to develop people. I'm like, hey, just come meet me for lunch. And they're like, for what? I just need some leaders. So, but it was influence. It wasn't manipulation. It wasn't, hey, what can I get out of you to lead? No, it was going, hey, what are you passionate about? Hey, I'm passionate about kids. Well, hey, I need a children's pastor. You want to do this together? Let's go. And so, or finding men that were like, hey, I want to invest in students. Well, let's just get together and meet. And so basically the question you asked, I'm thinking through that going, the one thing that comes to mind is going, whether you're selling tennis shoes, whether you're selling barbecue, whether you're helping people at a church, the underlining common denominator is people. You're going to have people all the time, right? Whether you're making T-shirts, whether you're working as a coach, the number one thing is people. So you're in the industry with people wherever you go. If you can remember that, if I can develop the people near, like if I only had 2 people, if I'm a supervisor over one, or if I'm not even a supervisor, if I work with a couple of people and I just make them better by the way I treat them or the way that I talk or the things that I learn, and just say, hey, have you ever read books by this guy? No. Hey, what do you think about this? And get them to think. I'm beginning to influence them. I'm not manipulating them. And I think just remembering that the correlation of where I work, my part-time and my full-time, is it's all about people. Like I have to remember, if I'm dealing with somebody that is a busser at a barbecue place, hey, they're still a person. What if, I mean, they have the same dreams and aspirations as anyone else. They're just starting somewhere. Yeah. And you got to remember that. I think for me, I want leaders to remember that you can crush people's dreams in just a matter of seconds by the words you say, or you can change their entire day by going, hey, you're really good at what you do. What's your long-term goal? And so the correlation for me just starts with people. Like, you're in the people business no matter where you go. Right. So treat people the way you want to be treated, because you're going to need them in the long run. So, and they're going to need you. So yeah, that correlation's people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. And as a human being, I think we're just inherently nice. I think people are always just usually nice unless something's happened to them to, change that. But I mean, just being nice to somebody can change their whole day. And I'm sure you've seen it a million times. And I've seen it a million times as well. Just, even if you're having a bad day, if you just choose those words carefully, just say, if you get cut off in traffic or something and then you go into work, just try to brush that anger off, because they did, everybody's going through their own thing, and
they didn't wake up going, I'm going to go specifically find Mario and cut him off in traffic. You don't know what they're going through, right? Exactly. So just to go, hey, back up, like you said, brush it off, or just go look at the bigger picture. Don't look at this small, like what we call it is, you get target fixated. So you're looking through the scope, trying to hit this target. Well, what happens when you take your eye and you back up away from the scope? You see everything around you and go, I can see the bigger picture. Yeah. Don't get target fixated. Don't zoom in on something so much that you forget that you're here to affect people's lives, and you can. Yeah. Yeah,
man. How long have you guys been doing your podcast for?
Since January 10th. And we launched it on my birthday. I don't know why. It just happened. It was just Sunday. So we say, hey, we're going to record on Wednesdays and we'll launch it on Sundays. So we record Wednesdays and we release them on Sundays. That's what we try to do. Yeah. But January 10th, man, of this year, we should have launched it years ago, probably a year and a half ago, but fear was a part of why I didn't do it. Yeah. Just fear of what other people are going to think, fear of, do I have what it takes? Right. So, yeah.
Yeah, man. Hindsight's always 20/20, right? It's I'm in the same boat. Not that I have anything important to say. I just feel like I had some stuff to say, and the point of my podcast is not as much for me, but for the guests that I bring on. Totally. To get that story out there.
That's awesome, man.
Man, I love it. It's so it pumps me up. It excites me. I left work 30 minutes early to get here. Still was late. I had to put this thing on the wall.
It's all good, bro.
But the people aspect of this podcast is why I'm in it,
Yeah, man.
And just like what you said, it's people. I mean, that's what we're all here together.
Yeah, and you never know who's going to listen. That, again, I'm going to reach someone that you may not reach. You're going to reach someone who I may not reach. But through our conversation, somebody that neither one of us knows somewhere may go, hey, that one line that they both agreed on or said, or he said, they may write that down. It may change something. And then they go home and it changes their family. I'm just saying the trickle effect, the domino effect, whatever, the ripple effect can be great when you keep in mind that you're here for other people.
Yeah, that's awesome. So going back to your podcast, you guys have different topics that you talk about weekly, right?
Yeah. We try to cover leadership books.
Leadership. Okay, so books.
So like the goal is to motivate, inspire, and encourage. And when you motivate, you try to help people find their why. Inspire is, hey, I'm going to tell you stories of people that have lived some crazy things, like real true life stories. We'll interview people. And then encourage is going, hey, I'm going to give you the resources you need to accomplish something in life. So in that, the encouragement aspect, we try to pick apart books. So back when I was in school and you had a freaking reading assignment, there was those little yellow books called Cliff Notes. So if you didn't want to read the story, you go find that. So what we try to do is we try to get a book like we did Extreme Ownership, and we didn't go through every chapter. We just highlighted the main points so that people can listen and go, man, I need to go buy that book, but I need to apply this to my life.
Right.
And so really it's picking apart leadership, whether it's secular or Christianity or any kind of book. We just go, here's a leadership book. Check out these principles. Pretty much they're the same. How do you apply this to where you work, how you live, the people you're around? And then we just tell stories by interviewing people. So, yeah.
That's awesome, man. When you mentioned earlier that you got to meet Jocko, where was that at?
Yeah, that was for my birthday. So we're in 2021. Is it 2021? Man, it's been a long day. 2021. So COVID shut us down 2020, right?
Yep.
So before it shut down, it was January of last year, I guess, 2020. Was it last year?
Mm-hmm.
Were we shut down?
We didn't shut down till like March.
Okay, so that was last year. I'm kind of thinking through 2019 or 2020. It was 2020 because things were still open. We barely heard about the virus, and so he was downtown at the Paramount Theater. Gosh, and
missed it.
It was in December, and they sell out, dude. They sell out. He said, hey, I'm going to do 5 live events all over the U.S., and he picked Austin. And the minute that they went on sale, I just called and I said, hey, I need 2 tickets, VIP. I don't care what it is. And when I found out the VIP price, I was like, hey, don't give me the VIP price. Just go ahead and just give me 2 tickets anywhere. And so I don't even know what we paid. Somebody, Jay, the guy that told you was one of my mentors, he went with me. And the thing that I loved about Jocko, man, so we met in January 2019. The thing that I loved about him that he still does to this day is he waits around and shakes every single person's hand that wants to stay. So it was probably about 12:30, past midnight, and we were towards the end of the line. I mean, there was at least 1,000 people there, and he shook everybody's hand, signed their book. I mean, he waited, shook everybody's hand, signed their book, shook their hand, took a picture. And, JP Donnell and Leif were there, some of his guys.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, Dakota Meyer was there. And so it was cool just to, again, to me, he's a larger than life figure when you talk about leadership. But when you get in front of him, he's just a dude, man.
That's so cool.
And it's so cool to see that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny how we elevate these people so high.
Yeah.
And then you get these weird feelings when you're around them, and then you talk to them, and you're like, "Oh man, what the heck?"
Yeah, we put them on a pedestal, right?
Yeah.
Which can be good or bad.
Yeah.
And so, if they fall, I mean, just remember we're all human, right?
Yeah.
And that's the same thing that goes with being a pastor. Is it's tough. The way I tell people is, like, dude, Superman bleeds.
Yeah.
And we're not Superman, which means we're gonna bleed a lot, and we're just like you. It's just that. This is just what I do.
Yeah, that's awesome. I got to meet a comedian, Brian Callen.
Okay.
At Cap City here in Austin.
Yeah.
Me and my buddy Daniel, we waited after, not Daniel V, but different guy.
Mm-hmm.
We waited after for like 30 minutes, and then he talked to us for probably 15 minutes, man. Like,
yeah. That's cool, dude.
It was crazy, and like he's pretty big comedian,
well known, yeah,
pretty well known, and he talked to us like we were friends.
That's cool.
It was so cool. And then you just realize, like, after that encounter with him, I was like, man, these are just people.
Yep.
These are just people.
We got to remember that, man. Especially that if you ever make, and I'm not saying you make it big. I don't even know what that is anymore.
Right.
But if you have a place where your influence is great, to go, I never want to forget that I was in a room recording a podcast, just wanting to put material out that was going to help people. Try to be that person all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's something I've also been thinking about recently. It's sometimes So I love podcasts.
Yeah.
I listen to them all the time.
Mm.
The number one is probably Joe Rogan, just because I throw it in my ears and it like takes a whole day to finish one episode, you know?
Yeah.
And it's a very interesting conversation, except for recently it's kind of been the same stuff. But I was starting to think about it. Like on podcast days, whenever I record, I have to not listen to podcasts because I want my own thoughts in my head. I don't want other people's thoughts in my head.
That's good.
And I've started to think about that. And I'm like, man, like I'm listening to this guy so much that I'm having less time for me to research and do my own thinking. And and I'm like, what's going on here? Like I can't be doing that.
Yeah.
And
you got to be yourself, right?
Yeah, I found it interesting because like they say, everything can hurt you. Like everything you overdo. What's the saying? There's a saying. It's if you overdo everything, I don't know, man.
Too much of
anything can be a bad thing.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is. And so I was like, man, I listen to this guy a lot, man. And I need to start formulating my own ideas. And because you listen to it all the time and you just start to think like in that kind of mindset.
And the people closest to you, hopefully they'll say, hey, and I always get the reminder, hey, don't be Jocko, don't be this guy. And I'm like, I appreciate the reminder, and I got to remember it. I'm not trying to be anyone else. Yeah. Yeah.
That's key. And authenticity is really what draws people to you. That's what, people just want to relate to something.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why these podcasts that we listen to, Jocko, Joe Rogan, whoever it may be, they're relatable in some way, shape, or form. Yeah. And they're also at the highest level of it. So that's desirable.
There you go.
Yeah. And so I just got to remember to take a step back and man, that's
be
awesome.
Yourself.
Be yourself. That's super important. And Daniel V.
Yeah.
We're about to launch out the youth program,
right?
Yeah, the youth program, and it's getting exciting. And that's one thing he's trying to really get us to emphasize, to be ourselves.
Be yourself. Yeah, I met with him, man, and I told him my first Sunday, I had 28 students, and it was a trip. And I was like, man, what in the world are we doing? And we met in the gym, and then so we had 28 students, and it's not about like the numbers,
right?
But when you see their lives change, so we had 28 students my first Sunday, and then we moved our program to Wednesday years later, 9 years down the road. There's 250 students in this auditorium, just jam-packed, and I'm going, man, God knew what was going on. God knew what was going to happen in the lives of these students. But when you start something to go, I can't figure. I can't focus on the stats. I can't focus on what other people are going to think. I just got to be myself and bring the best part of me, the best version of myself to the team, to leading, and just remembering to be yourself is key.
Yeah, that's true. You guys, I heard your podcast and episode, and I thought you guys did very good at that. It's very easy to tell when people are trying to fit some sort of personality or trying to be something they're not. And you guys did a very good job of. I don't even know you guys. It just sounded authentic. Yeah, and it was cool because even though you guys have a topic and you're going to talk about, you guys are still joking around. And who do you do your podcast with?
So I do my podcast with Adina Ramsey. She is just a family friend, man. She's somebody that when I moved here, the first day of my job that I had 13 years ago was the same day that she started too. And we just meshed. Her husband's a coach. Has been a coach for. He's been a Spanish teacher for I don't even know how long, man. He's been in the education business for like 25 years. But anyways, we just became friends, and she is someone who is leadership driven as well, and she leads tons of women. And really we hit it off working together to where I could tell her, like, I'll never forget, she said something to a volunteer, and I just said, hey, man, your delivery sucks. Like, you just made somebody feel bad. And she didn't get it because she's just going. She's just saying, hey, we got to get things done. And I said, hey, your delivery sucks. You might want to learn the way to talk to people. And I said it that way because I knew the relationship I had with her. And so her name's Adina. We've been working together for 13 years. And, dude, it's just – and I think what's funny is – she tends to try to rein things in sometimes because I like you said, I'd love just to, we'll talk about something and I just go off on a tangent. Yeah. She's like, okay, we got it. Let's she starts snapping her fingers. Hey, let's get this going. I'm like, okay, whatever. But Dina, she's cool. And then we have Etiana Guzman, who's our all our marketing stuff, our social media, our hats. She makes T-shirts, she makes stickers, she makes logos, web and app, and then my wife Jamie. And then Tyler, he's just a buddy of mine he's just there. And they kind of give us criticism, positive criticism, positive feedback, negative. Like if we said something wrong or we got to go back and change, they're there to watch. But the funny thing is we all work for free, you know,
Right.
we don't have any money.
Yeah,
and that's not, and that was the number one thing of our podcast is to go, hey, this is free. Like to be a good human being, like you said earlier, is free. To influence someone is free. To lift someone else up, it's free. And what's funny is when you do that, the payment that you get back of just changing someone's life by just doing something like encouraging them.
Yeah.
Dude, money can't buy that, dude. Money cannot buy that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. That podcast you were talking about earlier with Ben, the first episode I had, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know, like, I was so nervous.
Yeah.
I get nervous before every podcast, but
yeah.
It was great. It was like one of my favorite ones. And this girl that I know from back in high school, you know, I haven't talked to her in years. Been years. She reached out and she said, hey, I heard your episode of your podcast.
That's cool.
I've actually incorporated some of that into my youth group that I teach on Sundays. I was like, oh my gosh, like I didn't make a dime off of this, but that was worth more than anything I could have ever made in my life.
Heck yeah.
It's amazing, man.
Yeah. Influence, man. That ripple effect.
Yeah, man. I'm trying to make millions.
Yeah, that's one thing about Adina. I'll tell you, Adina's always saying, hey, we're going to have a private jet. And I'm like, okay. I was like, you can handle the finances.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do any of that. So
yeah, that's a mindset I have to keep myself into. Like, it's not that hard for me. I don't really care about making the money. Of course, it'd be nice, but like, I know that once my mind gets to that and that's like what I'm chasing, it's not going to be good for me.
Yeah.
This thing will shut down quick, man. I'll be
or the
selling all
people
this
around you, right?
Yeah.
They're probably going to be like, hey, he's a big head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They already say that, but no.
Yeah, man, I think that just remembering who you are is vital when you start things like that. And I think there's a fine line, and what Jocko calls it is dichotomy, right? A balance is to know your value, so that when you work with people, you got to know your value, and then not to say that I'm too expensive and you're into all the luxury things. Man, I'm just like, you know what? I just want to be us. And yes, we got to charge people, and yes, we got to make money. But know your worth, man. And I think identity is, I mean, we talked about that I know you and I talked about a podcast we did, which was leading when you're not in charge. And when you're not in charge, but you're leading, or your lack of leadership or your lack of belief that you're a leader is because of your identity, right? And so in anything that we do, if we have a false identity of who we are, it's going to show, and people can either smell that from a mile away and they're going to go, hey, I'm just going to step over this person.
Right.
And you can't be too prideful because people are going to go, hey, he's too arrogant. But you got to know your value to go, I carry influence with the people I'm around.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, identity, I mean, that's big in the world because people struggle with that, right? But if we can help people find their identity, again, that's why I say you're made for more. So
that's awesome, man.
Yeah,
it's awesome. Now your company name goes full circle. Every time with everything. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, what you said something about you worked for 2 large shoe corporations?
Yeah, man. I have about
you have a shoe collection.
Embarrassed to say this, but probably I'd say about 80. I mean, that's not even a lot compared to like sneakerheads, but probably about 80 pairs of shoes, couple pairs of boots that I'm proud of. But like, and when I say boots, I mean like Origin Main again.
Jocko.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's because they were made in America, like from the leather, the soles, the laces, everything was made in America. And that's why I like it, because I want to support these small businesses that are doing these things. And so anyways, yeah, shoes, man. I got to meet quite a bit of people in the shoe industry. I can say who I worked for. I worked for Nike, I worked for Finish Line, and those 2 companies they were on the up in the early 2000s. And so, man, some of the perks that you get a bunch of free shoes. We got to meet, I got to meet Tone Loc, Jada Kiss.
Oh, wow.
Frank Caliendo, he's a comedian.
Oh yeah.
I got
impressionist.
Yeah, awesome dude. I got to meet a lot of Ric Flair was down. So, dude, we were at Indianapolis is where the headquarters is for Finish Line. And if you're a trainer for the company, which means you train people to go take their own store. So I was a trainer for them. Flew into Indianapolis. They pick you up and they take you to your hotel. Man, Nike, I'm telling you, you're working for Finish Line, so you have every shoe industry, and they pay for everything. Like, all you do is wear a lanyard, you walk in, you show them, everything's paid for. So we were, I'd come down the elevator, and the Pacers were playing the Nets. And the reason I remember this is because our hotel was all rented out, the Marriott, and it's downtown Indianapolis, and the Nets were playing that night. And so when we got back to our hotel, and we saw Jason Kidd, Vince Young, they all get in the elevator, and these guys, they all have their head, back in the day it was, everybody had their Beats on, and I don't even know if Beats were around. They just had headphones on, and they had these like CD Walkmans. At the time, that's what it was. So, I mean, it was probably like,
that's funny.
I'd say 15 years ago. But anyways, they get in the elevator. You're not allowed to get on. They go up to their room. But we heard like a ruckus in the hotel bar, and we just heard people yelling. So we go in there. We're like, what's going on? And you see, like, for me, I see this like flash of white hair, and I'm like, okay, no way. And so we get closer and closer, and it's Ric Flair, bro.
Wow.
And we're like, that's Ric Flair. And, I mean, he's buying drinks for everybody and just going crazy, and he's yelling.
That is so cool.
So, yeah, man. And then I think, exactly.
That's
and
so funny, man.
I think Finish Line, man, they did a really good job taking care of their managers. I got to meet the Black Widow. She's a pool player, Widow. And then Chris Moneymaker, he won the very first poker.
Dang.
No limit poker thing that they used to play on ESPN. We got to play against him, and if you beat them, you got like a free trip. Yeah, man, we got to meet some pretty cool people. Coach Kalahari, not Kalahari, Coach Calipari.
Coach K.
Yeah, bro. He was, to this day, like, I'd say sports motivational speakers. To this day, he's probably the best person I've ever heard speak. And he was a coach. I mean, he was at Tennessee at the time. Or no, he was at Memphis at the time. Not Tennessee, Memphis, Tennessee. So he was at Memphis, had just gotten, and everybody was like, who is this guy? And he spoke with such passion and who he was at the time, which is probably like 15, 16 years ago. Man, amazing speaker, amazing motivator as well. So he's a pretty cool guy.
Wonder his teams always win.
Yeah, right? And I'm just telling you. And the coolest part about working for Finish Line was there was a year that we went to Disney World. So when Disney World would shut down, they'd open up for us. And
wow.
Dude, Universal Studios, they all did that. It was the year of the Olympics. And so like we had, and we got to meet Warren Sapp.
Okay.
I mean, we met a lot of famous people that, I say famous, like famous athletes.
Yeah.
Got a lot of free stuff. I think the coolest thing was walking into our hotel room and just the shoe boxes waiting on your bed.
Oh my gosh.
With watches and Nike gear and Adidas and Reebok. So, dude, I'm all that to say, yeah, I have a lot of shoes. And, yeah, it's cool.
That's awesome, man. I've heard Jocko talk about his company, the Origin. It's called Origin Maine.
Origin Maine, yeah.
Origin Maine. They're pretty good boots,
dude. Yeah, I mean, I bought the first edition that came out. It was probably like $300. My wife was freaking out, going, why are you gonna buy them? And one, it was because I wanted to support that company, right?
Right.
But the product just keeps getting better. I mean, again, what do they say? They say it's from dirt to shirt. So everything in the U.S. is made here. And for me, the biggest thing that I've been like supporting is their supplement game. Like their energy drinks are all natural, no sugar. It's keto friendly, and the only thing they have in there obviously is caffeine. It's 95 grams, which is like a cup of coffee. But it's cool to see that it's all natural, and people say that all the time. But when you go on, you see he's releasing greens. He's releasing his supplements like
Mulk.
Yeah, Mulk we have that. My wife is a big fan of the Mulk.
I just finished a tub of that.
Really?
Yeah.
What we like strawberry Slayer is what it's called.
I only had pumpkin.
Really?
It was okay.
I've never had it.
It was not as much flavor as you'd think, but
yeah. My wife likes it's vanilla gorilla. She likes that, and so like joint warfare and those things when we use them because it works. And for me, we're helping a company in the United States where literally they're sewing boots together, and it's bringing back bringing back life into that town. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I really appreciate that he's doing that.
Yeah, I think we need. I mean, in the culture right now, right when things are shut down, let's go back to the way things were back in the day if we can. I mean, it's going to be a little bit more expensive, but invest in people and invest in your product.
It's funny to think about that though. Like, of course it's more expensive when you're paying like, next to nothing.
Yeah.
It just makes sense. But, what was I going to say, man? You're talking about the boots, you're talking about the jog. Oh, do you have a specific workout routine you do, or?
So I was a coach for a while, man. I would wake up at 4:00 in the morning every day
You do?
I did for about 2.5 years.
Yeah.
Now I pushed that back to about 5, but it was 4 o'clock every
sleep in now, huh?
for 2 years. Yeah. So I would coach a 5 o'clock class and 6 o'clock class, but before they got there, I would sometimes work out. So, really it's just for me, in the morning, it's 2 miles every morning, regardless, 2 miles every morning. And then in the evening, it's either a HIIT routine, 45-minute, 35-minute HIIT, like 4 stations with 2 workouts, 35 seconds. And I just I don't like a lot of weight, either pull-ups or cardio, whatever. I just want to stay in shape. And so really, dude, I just enjoy being active. Like, I need to keep my body moving. One, like, the underlining theme that I try to tell people as a coach is to go, hey, I'm doing this for my daughters. Like, I don't want to be at a place where I can't invest in my kids or go somewhere. And sure, you're going to have injuries, but dude, I think for me, it's just staying active. And what I love teaching people is, like, so when I coached, not everybody was in shape. Not everybody's in their 20s. It was me. I had people were 50, 60 years old, but they were just going, I want to move. Like, I have to move. I have to move. Like, have my body in motion. And so I would tell them, hey, you don't need to work. You don't need to walk a mile. Just walk half a mile or walk a quarter away from your house and walk back. You just walked half a mile. If you do that every day, I mean, for the whole year, think about it. You walked longer than you have last year. Just start moving, and it's going to add up. It's that compound interest, like money, but it's compound interest in your body and however. So
yeah, that's another. Yeah, I work out. I got into it pretty hard after. I used to play basketball in high school. That was my thing, and then after I didn't progress in that, I went to college and I just started working out, and been in the working out game ever since. And last year during COVID, tried to train for a marathon. Yeah, got up to the 20-mile point, and then obviously the marathon got canceled. I don't know why. I don't know why we didn't think about that when we signed up and paid for it. We paid for it like right when stuff started to shut down because we couldn't go to the gym. And anyways, that was interesting. But now it's
pretty legit, dude. I mean, a marathon is not. It's not easy.
It's not easy. It hurts a lot. Yeah, it's a lot of mental though. Yeah, that was my favorite part about it. Is I remember running. I ran with my buddy Daniel. And then our buddy Adrian. Adrian he's done all sorts of endurance races, triathlons, not full. I think he's done up to a half triathlon. He's done like 7 marathons, a lot of stuff. That's his thing. Yeah. And we would do, this 5-mile lap in Marble Falls. And I would stop at the 4th because the 5th mile, you had to like almost go back. They added it. It wasn't like actually part of the track. So I was like, no, I'm just going to do the lap. And then eventually I was like, oh, all right, they're doing it. I got to start doing it. And then like the little mental hills you climb, the battles you win, they add up, man. And then so when you get to those like upper like half marathons, like 15, 16, they're still tough. But you get to a certain point where you're like, okay, my body feels fine. Yeah. Now let's just think about whatever. And you get in that flow.
That's good.
But now I just do like, push, pull, splits.
That's cool.
Push, pull legs. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not training for anything specific right now. Maybe that marathon got canceled in December. Thinking about doing it in December this year because they push it back. Yeah. So I have a token to go.
Hopefully, everything will stay good to go.
Yeah. Mario, one last thing I wanted to ask you about, man, was you just touched on it a little bit, but consistency in your profession and just in your life, man. Yeah. How has consistency played a role and what would you tell others about consistency?
Yeah, I would say that. So on our podcast, when Dina interviewed me, she said, what would you put on a billboard? Right. And I just said, it comes from Jocko. I'm saying he's my mentor. Right. So I said, discipline equals freedom. Right. Which is, if I'm disciplined and showing up, being consistent, then the outcome of what is going to happen is going to be a compound interest of just a snowball effect. So if I wake up at 5 o'clock every morning for the next 3 years and I run 2 miles, you can do the math, 365 days times whatever, 2 for 3 years. That's where I'm going to end up. But it's not easy, right? It's not going to be easy. But the why behind my consistency is what's important, which is my daughters, which is my family, which is my health. So if in the morning when my freaking alarm goes off and I go, I don't want to do this, the why has to kick in and go, remember why you're doing it.
Right.
Is your sleep more important than your daughters? No. Is your sleep more important than your health? No. And sometimes I get it. You got to rest, right? Rest days, whatever.
Right.
But for me, I'm going, anything that I do consistently, in my relationships, am I showing up for them consistently? Because when I need them, is it all about me? No, I got to consistently show up for those guys and those girls to go, I want to invest in your life. I have to be consistent, because if I'm not, inconsistency can lead to complacency, and complacency can lead to being lazy, and lazy can lead to going, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. And when you get there, it happens little by little. So I think you build you build whatever you're building brick by brick, right? And so if it's complacency, before you know it, you're in a house that you've built and you're going, crap. And it won't come down it comes down one brick at a time, right?
Yeah.
Which means if I've been complacent and inconsistent for 5 years, it's going to take a long time to take that down. But it also is building a better one at the same time. So as you're taking one brick from one foundation, you're putting it on the other, you're going, okay, I'm no longer complacent and I'm being consistent. So you're just transferring the bricks. But you got to remember that, one, you got to rest sometimes. And I think one of the controversial things that I've said that I'm trying to help people understand is accountability is good for myself. If I said, Aaron, I need you to keep me accountable, right there, I've already gone, I'm asking you to help me show up. I can't do that.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say, I got to keep myself accountable, and I'm going to ask Aaron to go with me. And if he wants to go run, we're going to run. But if you're not, cool.
Yeah.
But I got to keep myself accountable. I can't look for anyone else to keep me accountable, because extreme ownership says it's me. Discipline equals freedom is going, when I show up, the freedom is going to come later on in life when I can move, and I'm 60, 70 years old, hopefully. But again, consistency, I believe, helps your relationships. People knowing that you're going to show up, you can keep your word. Consistency again in your habits. Going, I'm not a machine, and I don't just stick to one thing. But there's some things that I go, I'm consistent with this, so the output that you're going to get from me.
Right.
Again, finances, relational things,
Yeah.
just little things like that. Being consistent, man, is vital. I think. Because that's how habits are built. Once you build habits, we're going to launch a podcast next week, and the thing that I've always told students is, first you pick your habits, and then first you build your habits, and then your habits build you, because you continue to build those things, and then they're going to build you, and you're going to go, how did I get here?
Right.
It's your habits. It's consistency.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly, man. I'm a huge, proponent?
Yeah.
Of consistency. Mm-hmm. And that hasn't always been a thing in my life. I remember, like, middle school. Yeah. Just lazy.
Yeah.
High school, played ball almost every day. Got way better. You see the dividends being paid when you're consistent, and it's not the next day. It might not even be the next week, but when you look back, it's there.
Yeah.
And it's one of the easiest things to say, one of the hardest things to do, right? Because you have your moments when your alarm goes off and you're like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Like, maybe not today, maybe tomorrow. Yeah. And then that also compounds, into your day. Just the rest of the day is like, I should have ran. Man, now I'm going to have a bad day at work. I'm going to have, I'm probably going to eat worse than I would have. Mm-hmm. But yeah, consistency is huge.
Yeah. Because once you start saying that, tomorrow, well, then tomorrow comes and you start to bargain with yourself, and you go,
yes.
Well, it's Tuesday, so why don't I just start on a Monday, because it's going to start a fresh week. Well, then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you're like, Monday's coming, and then you get to there and you're like, well, I don't know if I really want to anymore. Right. And you've already been consistent making excuses.
Exactly. Yeah, my dad needs to hear that, man. He always says, I'm gonna start the diet on Monday. I'm like, dude, it's Wednesday.
Yeah. The hardest part is starting, man.
Exactly. Yeah. That's one of the things I said whenever I started this podcast.
Yep.
Was I'm going to be consistent with it. I think I've missed 3 weeks, and that's because I've been out of state or out of town. And even when I don't have a guest, although I don't want to do it, I'll do a solo episode just to release one, because I know the one time I say, "Oh no, I'll do it next week," that's gonna compound.
Exactly.
Yeah, man. And
that's good, man.
I've seen dividends paying already, so
that's good.
Getting better
and content out.
Exactly.
Yep.
Man,
that's awesome, bro.
I really appreciate you coming and making the time out of your schedule for this, man. I know you're busy.
It's a blast, man. I love this. I just again, I appreciate people that are trying to push people to be better and to just invest in themselves and invest in other people. And man, anytime. I appreciate you having me on, bro.
Yes, sir, man. I need to get one of those shirts.
I'll get. Yeah, we need to.
You got a shop online?
Yeah, man.
Shout out yourself.
Yeah, man. If you can go to madeformoreconsulting.com. So made for more is the number 4, MADE 4 more consulting.com. So madeformoreconsulting.com. You can check out our podcast from there. You can check out our merch, which we have a hat. We have 2 shirts. Any kind of support helps. You know, I mean, all that money goes to building the podcast and all the stuff that we do. I mean, so hats, shirts, and really follow it there. You can also follow us on, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and we're just constantly trying to put that message out of motivate, inspire, and encourage, because that's what we're here to do. So
it's beautiful.
Madeformoreconsulting.com, man.
Awesome, man. I'm going to tag you in the post I make on this, and
appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll tag all that stuff.
Cool.
Awesome.
I appreciate you, man.
Mario, thank you very much. Yes, sir. Bye, everybody.